Alcoholic audio engineer, coming to you from lovely scenic Paju City, South Korea. As you can see, I moved the studio out into the living room. The long-suffering missus went out of town on holiday with her sisters. So I've got the run of the place until tomorrow night. And I decided to make the best use of that opportunity to, move the studio out into a bigger space, bigger room. It's got some reverb in it, although that's not what you're hearing right now. Most of the reverb you're hearing is a plug-in I've got that I'm using for the podcast audio. But anyway, there is a bit more room sound in here, and wanted to get a little bit loud. So that's what I did today. I added a new snare part, and I added a new acoustic guitar part. The snare part, I tried to document this today, and I did. I mean, I recorded some footage of it, but unfortunately it didn't work out because I had some technical difficulties with the podcast recording software. When I moved everything out here, some of the settings changed, and just didn't work out. So this is kind of a recap of what I was up to this afternoon. I guess I'll start by I'll start with the new snare. So let me just let you hear what that sounds like. As you will recall, if you've been following this tutorial series from the beginning, where we started out with just an acoustic guitar track and a vocal track. And now I'm all the way up to 27 tracks, as you can see. I think 21 of them now, actually 22 of the 27 have been recorded, tracked through this USB microphone. The point of this being I could remove those other 5 tracks and it would still be a pretty impressive project. The point of that is to demonstrate what you can do with a minimal setup. A computer that is not from the Stone Age. This MSI laptop is 7 years old by now. And so it's like not cutting edge or anything. It is a gaming laptop, but still, it's 7 years old. Free software, the DAW, the DAW, the digital audio workstation is Cakewalk, which is very feature rich. It's far more than you need as a hobbyist, and it's available absolutely free. Everything that I haven't paid for any software, everything that I have here, you can get for absolutely free. Obviously, an acoustic guitar, you may or may not have that, but most people have the means to pick up an old beater acoustic guitar. It doesn't have to be anything special. You can use the software and some know-how to make it sound much nicer than it actually is. Make it sound any way you want, basically, which I've shown throughout this tutorial series. And so, what you can do with a decent computer, free software, and an external USB condenser microphone, which Those are very common nowadays, and relatively inexpensive. So that's the point. 21 tracks out of 22, 21, 22 out of 27 went through this microphone, including both that I added today. Right, so I'm going to start with the new snare sound. And, I'll just start from the beginning of the project here. As you know, I used a metronome click, so there is a gap before the song kicks in. That's like 8 clicks on the metronome, which you're not going to hear when I play, but you're going to hear something else. You hear that? Again, hear a little click and then some room sound. This is just something that I want to throw in there. Make sure that you always do this when you track something new. You see that this is the new snare track. It's called New Snare. I've got the old snare muted because basically I don't need it anymore. It was getting, it wasn't recorded loud enough. It's as loud as I can make it, and it's just getting lost in the mix. So I might as well just go ahead and delete it, but I'm not going to yet. Anyway, this is, when I hit record, and this is what I used for the new snare. Is this automatic voltage regulator right here. Can you see it? Right here. It's a big, heavy voltage regulator. And I mean heavy. I had kind of forgotten about it for a while because I hadn't been using it, but I had to shift it the other day when I was reorganizing. And of course, DIY mindset, give it a whack and see how it sounds. And I quickly deemed that it was suitable for a new snare sound. So, right? That was a little bit too sharp and too loud, so I laid a towel on top, a folded towel, just to dampen it a bit. And here's what it sounds like right there. Sounds a lot like a real snare. So I was waiting, I hit record, and I'm over here, waiting to start recording the part. And meanwhile, the microphone is picking up room sound. It's very low, but we don't want it. We don't want it there. So what you do is you see these double arrows here. Not there. There's the double arrows with the 2 vertical lines in the middle. That will drag this window or panel back and forth, right? But right there with the single vertical line in the middle, that's where I can disappear this room noise. Just drag it over here, right up to the transient where the new snare comes in. All right, this is just good practice, a good thing to do with everything. You want to minimize unnecessary noise, right? So I'm going to zoom in and just take it all the way down to the beginning of the transient, right there. I don't need anything before that. Okay, so zoom out, and maybe even a little bit more. You can see that the old original snare track, which, again, if you've been following this series, we used a board game box for that original snare sound. Just a game board box, and we used some plugins and some EQ to make it sound more like a snare. It ended up sounding like actually a snare rim shot, which is fine. I was happy with that for a while, but then it was just getting buried in the mix as the mix got bigger and bigger. So I decided I wanted to have, a proper snare sound in there. So lucky me, I happened upon an object lying around the house that would provide that would produce that. So here's what it sounds like. I'll just start it right from the beginning there. Here we go. Yeah. And I want you to listen to what happens when it goes into the first verse. So you can still hear that snare. Still there. It's still there, but because of various stages of compression on different tracks throughout the project, and then of course there's compression in the mastering, in the master bus. There's compression that's applying to the entire mix. So lots and lots of different variables. So one little problem that I'm having with this new snare sound, it's not a problem so much as just an issue to work through, is so again, it's really, really prominent in the intro. It's right there in your face, maybe a little bit too prominent. But then once the verse kicks in, there some hits you can hear quite distinctly. Other hits kind of disappear. And I don't want that. I want every hit to be audible. And as much as possible, I want every hit to be equally audible. I don't want it kind of willy-nilly popping in and out. So that's an issue that I need to address. And once I figure it out, I'll show you how I did it. Generally, it's just a matter of trying out different compressors, different compressor settings. Right now I have this track frozen. And if you watched the video on track freezing, you'll know all about this. But if you're just coming to this new, track freezing, we freeze tracks in order to save the, what is it called, the CPU. This project is very CPU intensive. CPU is doing a lot of math, a lot of processing, and anything that we can do to reduce that load is going to be beneficial, because if the CPU gets overloaded, then you can't really work with an overloaded CPU. It won't even play back properly. It'll glitch and jitter. So I've got the track frozen. I'm going to go ahead and unfreeze it just to show you something right off the bat. I unfreeze it, and you can see that the beats of the new snare are quite uneven, right? Because I'm not a percussionist. I'm not very good at beating the drum, but consistently or in time. But this shows you that I've used compression properly and judiciously. When I hit the freeze, let's see if I can undo the unfreeze. Unfreeze. Okay, so you can see that. So when you freeze the track, you see the processed signal. you see the processed waveform, and you can see that the the hits are pretty consistent after compression. There's a little variation, but certainly not nearly. I could probably compress it. I could probably compress it a bit more, and I probably will. That's probably one factor in why, when the mix gets bigger, the snare is kind of like disappearing in certain spots. Okay, but anyway, that's the new snare. Really briefly, what I did was in the Pro channel. Let's see, yeah, over here in the channel strip, new snare, Pro channel, show Pro channel. Just got the console emulator. I've got everything in the project in the console emulator set to Neve, warm with rich low end. I like that one. It's subtle, but it does make a difference. Nothing in the tube saturation stage for a snare. That's not the kind of. I don't like using tube saturation for something like a snare sound. It's more for continuous sound. That's guitars and vocals sometimes. But for percussion, not so much. Let me see here. I have in the EQ section, I have preset snare, more snap. Does what it says. Just a little boost in right around the 3,000 hertz in the mid range, and then I might elect not to use the compression stage in the Pro channel. I'm still thinking about it, but I've used the snare preset, and in the effects rack, what do I have? Just two things. TDR Molotov. Let me unfreeze it again. TDR Molotov. That is, again, Tokyo Dawn Records. They make, I don't know, a handful of very, very nice mixing and mastering plugins, EQ compression, mainly. Just type in TDR plugins, TDR free plugins, and you'll find them. Yeah, they all. I think they all come with installers, so you just download it and go through the install process. It puts the plugin files in the right folders so that Cakewalk will find it when you fire it up. No problem. This compressor Molotov is. It's not to be used in the mastering stage. It's good for individual. It's designed for individual instrument tracks. It can be used for vocals. I don't favor it for vocals, though. It's good for guitars and percussion and bass, but I don't even use it for bass. I use it for guitars and percussion, mainly for percussion. So I'm using TDR Molotov, and before that, I'm using a boost plugin. I think I have a ghost wandering around the room. I don't know. I've been hearing these noises. Anyhow, it's a clean boost. All right, I can show you what it looks like. Right? And without, which sounds good now. That's a good level for the snare now. But when we get into the verse, right? Turn it on. Right? But so yeah, I'm still working this out. But as you can see, it's called a clean boost, meaning that we're getting boost without overdrive or distortion. In digital world, that would be overdrive emulation, distortion emulation. This is not analog. Right, but so it's a clean boost. It means it's boosting the input gain, but the output volume is set to it's set by default to negative 0.1. Okay, so you're not getting any kind of volume boost, but you are getting more gain on the input, and that just makes it stand out more. That's just what it does, how it works. So this is one tool that you can use to make something pop out. Now, again, it can be overdone, especially on things like rhythm guitar. It can really be overdone. It's really good for like guitar solos, lead guitar, things that don't go on for too long. But it's also good for things like a snare, okay, for percussion. So Boost 11 is a native a Cakewalk plugin. It comes bundled with Cakewalk, although you have to unlock this one. There are three really, really, really useful native Cakewalk plugins that, for whatever reason, they don't show up right away after installation. I've mentioned this before. This one and the other two being the what's called the percussion strip and the vocal strip, which both of those, so the percussion strip and the vocal strip, I've talked about. I've shown what they do, and at some point I need to do a short video about once you've downloaded and installed Cakewalk, how you go about unlocking those so that they become available to you when you, let me see here, you click the plus button on your effects rack, and you go to insert audio effects, and in this case, so VX64 vocal strip and PX64 percussion strip. And where's the boost? The boost is in there somewhere. Well, actually, the boost shows up in Dynamics. Boost 11. Those don't show up when you first install Cakewalk. You got to unlock them. I keep forgetting to do that. So it's just a short video to show you how to do it. All right. So, anyways, that's what I got going on with the snare so far. It's not finished, but that's what I got going on with the snare. Now on to, so that is the voltage regulator snare. and the other new element is what I have called the phaser strings. So the phaser strings, what was that all about? There's an acoustic guitar part that I tracked through an amplifier, this amplifier, which I will show you a close-up here in just a second. And the amplifier through this speaker cabinet, Behringer speaker cabinet. The amplifier is an acoustic image Claris 2R. It's a Class D switching amplifier, solid-state amplifier that was much favored by the likes of Stanley Clarke. It was very transparent amplifier. But not just transparent. I don't know what they did, but they designed it specifically for acoustic instruments to, I guess, to bring out the timbre of the individual, so that you can hear the wood, so to speak, right? You can hear the strings, you can hear the wood, you can hear the sound of the individual instrument, the personality of that individual instrument. I got it back when I was a pedal junkie, and I had a huge, enormous pedal board. And I had been using a Fender Vibrolux, which I loved. That ended up with in a new home with a dear old friend of mine. I didn't want an amplifier that would add any kind of coloration to what I was trying to get out of the pedal board. I had become a pedal board player, as much as I was playing guitar, I was playing a pedal board, and I wanted an amplifier that would faithfully produce a faithful image of what that pedal board was doing, and make it sound prettier than it would otherwise have sounded. So that's where the acoustic image Claris came in. Here's what it looks like. I might as well give this a try. I guess I can do this with the headphones on, although I don't really need to. Take them off, and I'm gonna just pick up this camera, unplug it. All right, and try to give you a close-up here. All right, now there's the M-Audio black box audio interface that I keep telling you about. Again, it's got a drum machine and lots of timed effects that are exactly synced to the drum machine, which, if you know anything about that stuff, is a wonderful thing. This is a 17-year-old interface. It's old technology, but it's really, really wonderful. I love it. And I dread the day that it goes kaput. They all do at some point, but it's held up really, really well all these years. And I still love it. So as you can see, it's set on a chorus setting. No amp model. It's set on, I bypassed all the amp modeling. So there's no, kind of like, when I said I didn't want any kind of amp coloration at the end of my pedal board. So it's just a straight, very wet chorus effect that I was using. And then here is the acoustic image Claris. It looks just like a mixer, right? But it's more than just a mixer. You notice that it has a, I don't know if you can read that, but it has a high Z input and a low Z input. If you don't know anything about that, they're for different kinds of pickups, basically. So high Z is for like single coils, lower output pickups. High Z is for like active pickups, hotter pickups, humbuckers. Like when I track through tomorrow morning, when I run this electric guitar through the Claris, I'm going to use the low Z input there because it's got humbuckers on it, and one of those humbuckers is really super hot. So, but this acoustic guitar that I was using today, the pickups are pretty low output, so I use the high Z input, and I don't know how much detail you can see, but I got the bass rolled off pretty low here. This mix already has a lot of bass, and I just don't want to introduce too much more bass in this new track. And mid, treble, and bright, pretty much 12 o'clock. I didn't use the reverb stage. That's level all the way off. The second channel has got a microphone input. But anyway, that's the acoustic image Claris. And I don't even know if that company is still around, but I do really love that amplifier. And so that's what I tracked this new acoustic guitar part through. Just go ahead and plug this back in. I don't want to run my battery down. Whoops. All right. Okay. Yeah. So here's what that sounds like. I get the earphones back on. Okay, so, all right, 30 minutes. Wow, it's amazing how the time goes. Okay, so, where is that? Yeah, phaser strings. Okay, so here it is. It comes in. Let me go ahead and, let me see, new snare. Let's see, undo, unfreeze. Okay, I just want to have that frozen. And phaser strings, that's frozen. And yeah, I'm going to have to unfreeze it so I can talk about, show you what the plugins are doing. I'm going to have to unfreeze it. So, but here's what the waveform looks like processed, after freezing. Unfreeze it. A little bit bigger. It's compressed quite a bit. And not as loud as the original signal, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I think I'm pretty much done with it, and it's a texture. This mix is already pretty big. Yeah, it's got, again, how many tracks are we up to? 27. So. Yeah, it's getting more and more challenging to introduce new elements into it, and not have anything get buried, right? So, what this is just it's just a texture. It's just a sheen. It's the kind of element that you don't know it's there until it's gone. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Kind of like if you're a pedal board guy, as I was. There were like a couple of pedals on the pedal board that I never turned off. They were always on because they were just a part of the baseline sound of that board. And if one accidentally got switched off, bypassed, I could immediately tell the difference, and I would immediately go back and switch it back on. So they were always on. So in that sense, so again, you would only notice when they went missing, right? That's what this is, this phaser strings part. And I'll get into why it's called phaser strings here in a minute. So first we go into... okay, so first click and select on that. That's now in our channel strip, our console channel strip here. And first, let's just go into the pro channel and see what we got there. So again, the console emulator, no tube saturation. I haven't tried it yet. I may just give it a shot and see what happens, but haven't tried it yet. Notice the rather extreme EQ setting. Once again, there's enough bass in this mix already. Enough going on down in the bass. Doesn't need anything else to come in and murk it up, right? And again, I want clarity and distinction. I need to find a place for this new element that's distinct. And it doesn't get in the way of anything else. It doesn't negatively affect any other element in the mix. This is really, especially as a mix gets more, as it gets bigger, as it gets more and more elements, more parts, you gotta keep them separated. And if they do influence each other at all, it has to be in a positive and harmonious way. Okay, so let me just go ahead and I do have it. Let's see, the preset on this is guitar acoustic thick. Yeah, and there's a reason for that too. So, let's just go ahead. I'm going to turn off the effects rack altogether right now. And we're just, this acoustic guitar track comes in after the intro, at the beginning of the first verse. I'm going to go ahead and just global off the Pro channel, and just hear the just the dry signal as tracked. All right. First solo, and then in the mix. All right, so let's just go through the different elements. Oh, wait a minute, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I did. Okay, so let's enable. Let's global on the Pro channel, and I'm not going to bother A-Bing the console emulator, but the EQ and the compression definitely. So let me see, compression off. EQ off. All right, so, and then EQ on. Right? Off. So it really gives it, it's a clarifier. Okay, it gives it a space in the frequency range that's separate from everything that's going on in the bass. And it's just up there in the trebles where there's not so much going on. All right, so there's the EQ preset I chose, and then let's listen to the compressor setting. Again, I'll start off, and then I'll switch it on. Okay, listen to that low guitar string. It's kind of going B, 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 F sharp, F sharp, F sharp. That's by design. I wanted that low guitar string, the B and the F sharp, to kind of like kind of vibe through the mix in a way. That's not too prominent, but if you're listening for it, you can hear it. And here's what this compressor setting does. I think you'll agree that it emphasizes that low guitar string sound. Down, 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 down. So here's the compressor. Right? Bow, bow, bow. Okay, so that's why I chose that compressor preset. I kind of lucked out with it. I didn't have to, didn't even really have to try. I lucked out with a preset that did what I wanted. So that's the Pro channel. Let's move on to the effects rack. This is where you, this is where you insert, plugins, third-party plugins. Many of them are native Cakewalk plugins, but most of them are third-party plugins that I downloaded from various places. Again, all for free. Didn't pay for a single one of them. The first one is TDR Molotov, same one that I used for the snare. Okay, different settings, higher ratio, different threshold setting, different makeup setting. But let me see. I'm going to enable the effects rack and individually disable these. And first, just A/B the compressor and let you hear what it's doing. And on. Not making it louder, really. It's just kind of evening out the signal, making it a little bit more smoother and more consistent. So no point in really going on about that. It's pretty subtle what it's doing. The next one is also a TDR plugin, Tokyo Dawn Records plugin. It's an EQ plugin that I like. Again, quite subtle one, but I like this preset in it. It's called Stereo Width Enhancement. And well, not always, but usually it does exactly what that says. Somehow, I'm not sure how it does it, but it does EQ the signal in such a way that it somewhat widens its presence in the stereo field left and right. I just like what it does, especially to guitar sounds. So just A/B that. You might not even really hear the difference. I hear a slight difference. I hear a subtle difference. If you don't hear it, I don't know. Maybe it's just in my head. But I do hear it and I like it. So anyway, that's off. Anyway, that's TDR VOS Slick EQ. And then finally the secret sauce. The secret sauce, again, Finisher Micro, a free plugin that you got to jump through a few hoops to get it. Not going to lie, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass to get the thing. I may have to do a very short video on how to get this plugin. But after jumping through these few hoops, you get it absolutely for free, and it does so many things, man. It's just listen to what it does here. When I tracked this, I wanted three things. All right, I wanted a texture and a nuance, like I already said. Okay, something very subtle that you hear it and then you hear it switched off and then you want it back on, but not really in your face. Second thing is I wanted a little bit more guitar string sound. String sound meaning just kind of like the sound of the pick hitting the strings. Okay, which is kind of it's a rhythmic element. All right, it just adds a rhythmic element to the song, and then that low guitar string, the A and it's the fifth and the sixth strings, the A and the E string of the guitar, the two bass strings. All right. Of the guitar, I'm playing a B B B, and a F sharp, and I kind of I played it in such a way that I'm accentuating those notes, and I kind of want them to poke out a little bit. Again, somewhat for rhythmic effect. Those are the three things that I was going for. I don't think I got a lot of string sound added, but yeah. And I'm still working on the B and the F sharp notes on the low strings, but I definitely got the nuanced texture. Okay, and that came courtesy of the Finisher Micro plugin. So if you followed the series, you've seen it before. I've raved about it before. This is what it looks like. As you can see, it's on the phaser setting. All right, and first I'm just going to go ahead and let you hear what it sounds like with the track soloed, and then we'll go ahead and listen to it in the mix. Okay, so I'll start the track soloed dry, and then I'll kick the Finisher Micro on, and you'll hear what it does. Ready? Wow. Now you might think, well, geez, that's not subtle at all. And indeed, it's not subtle at all when you're soloing this individual track. It's anything but subtle. It's very wet, as we say, of effects. It's very, very wet. It changes everything. It doesn't even sound like a guitar anymore, does it? Well, you can hear the string sound in there, right? And you can hear some of the chiminess of the guitar coming through. But what you mainly hear is a phaser sound. It sounds more like a synth than a guitar, right? Sounds like a guitar played through a synth, a pedal or something like that. So, which is what it is. So it sounds pretty, again, anything but subtle, pretty extreme, until you hear it in the mix. Okay, it's kind of like what I was saying, like with those gongs. I think that was last night, right? When you listen to those gongs, those gong tracks individually, it's like, what the hell is going on with that? But then you hear it in the mix and it makes sense. Okay, so let's go ahead and listen to it in the mix. And, and by the way, this amount knob, that, again, there's all different. I'm not going to play with it right now because I don't want, that's the sweet spot. I found the sweet spot where it's rhythmically right with the song. It's doing everything exactly the way I want it to do. I'm not touching that knob. Okay, but trust me, you start playing around with the amount knob, and this is truly such an amazing, versatile plugin. It's a must-have. Finisher Micro by UJam. Right. So anyway, enough about that. That's what it sounds like soloed. And let's go ahead and listen to it in the mix. Okay, so I'm going to start playback with the track soloed. I'm going to unsolo it, and see if you can follow the sound of it into the mix and hear it in the mix. Here we go. Can you hear it? Okay, I can hear it. But then again, I've been working on this mix for what? How long has it been? I don't know. A couple weeks at least. Since we started, again, with just a raw acoustic guitar track and a raw vocal take, which is same vocal take, by the way. I didn't retract the vocals. That's the original vocal track that I did in installment number 1 on multi-tracking, leveling, and EQ. Same vocal take. It was actually 2 takes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just play it back in the mix, and then I'm just going to turn the finisher micro off. Just turn it off. And I think even if you close your eyes and you don't see at what point I turn fin micro off, you're going to hear the dropout. And that's what I was after. That's what I wanted to achieve. All right, so I'm going to take it back to the beginning. And again, this new part, the phaser strings come in after the intro, and at some point in that, after it comes in at the beginning of the first verse, at some point in the middle of that first verse, I'm just going to turn off the finisher micro. And, well, I guess first what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute the track in the middle of the verse. I'm going to mute the track, the new track, the whole track, everything. Phaser strings track. Going to mute that. And hear the dropout. Here we go. Hear the dropout. Now back in. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear the dropout. I certainly can. And it's just a sheen. It's just a shimmer. It's just a gossamer layer that just adds texture and character to the overall sound. Right. So solo, it sounds quite extreme. But again, it's a big mix, right? And so this is what mixing is all about. So I guess that's it for the update. Time for me to take a break from all this, get some dinner, check on the bunny rabbit. And get ready for the late night work, which is going to, I'm going to try a couple of other elements that I have in mind. The electric guitar through the black box. Just got a couple ideas, a couple of notions. Gonna see if I can find space for them. In a mix that's already quite full, okay. But it's in a way, I like pushing the envelope. Well, it's a challenge, Can I find more space without feeling that I've lost spaciousness? Okay, without the mix starting to feel kind of claustrophobic. So I'm going to give it a go tonight, and then tomorrow morning after the sun comes up and everyone's out of bed and I'm not going to bother anybody, I'm going to get loud with that amplifier again. All right, so that's the plan. Before I go, I'm just going to play the song from intro, first verse, and first chorus. I also, this is worth mentioning. Yesterday, I picked up some noise-canceling headphones. Partly because, I have tinnitus, and there are times when I'm out in public, when especially like in a loud, noisy restaurant with lots of clattering plates and silverware and human voices. It drives my tinnitus through the roof, and it helps to have some noise-canceling phones. It's also nice, like you're on the bus or something, you're listening to music or whatever. It cancels out the rumble, and they're nice to have. But I also bought them because I knew that they had, every headphone that you buy, headphone speakers, unless they're like reference monitors or like mixing headphones that are specially designed to have like a more or less flat frequency response to give you a really accurate audio image of what you've done, warts and all. Help that kind of thing helps you hear problems. But these headphones are they're EQ'd for very sort of whomping bass sound. Okay, very very strong on the bass end of the frequency response. A lot of people are into bass nowadays, and I knew that when I got them. And so one idea that I had was one problem that I was having with this project, with this mix, is especially during the chorus sections. I've got this track called Gorilla Toms, which I'll solo for you real quick. I've got Gorilla Toms right there, Gorilla Toms. And then I've got this Box Cutter B track, which is also a very low percussion track that I made from a box cutter and octave pitch shifting plug-in, 4 octaves down. And it was just out of control. And I gave the mix a listen through these phones that have like the frequency response curve is heavy on the bass side, because I wanted to hear what is it going to sound like through a pair of headphones like this. A lot of people have these. In other words, I wanted to make these really, really, really bass heavy percussion parts so that they didn't just sound like total noise through these phones. Okay, it was kind of a corrective measure in a way. So I did the mix through these bass heavy phones, and then I came back to my normal. These are not mixing headphones, they're nothing fancy, but they're pretty balanced. They're what I can afford right now, and they work pretty. They're balanced. They're good. So I'm going to go ahead and play it from the intro, first verse, and then the first chorus. And I think I'll just go ahead and play these 2 tracks. I'll solo them and then play them together. You can hear what's going on there. So let me see. Here's the. Hang on a second. I need to fit project. Where am I? Okay, so here's the beginning of the first chorus right here. And this is what the Gorilla Toms are doing, solo. Okay, and then solo, here's what the track is still called Box Cutter B, but this is what they're doing. So now you can hear that they're, I EQ'd them and tweaked them so that they're sonically quite different. The Gorilla Toms are much more in the low bass frequencies. The Box Cutter kind of drums are much more mid-range, low mid-range. They're quite distinct, but they were just getting muddled together, right? And so here's what they sound like together, soloed together, Gorilla Toms and Box Cutter B. pretty guerrilla-y, right? That's what I'm going for. But I was having problems getting it to work in the mix. It was bothering me, and I'd say it's bothering me a little bit less now. So yeah, I'm gonna go before I finish this. I'm gonna yeah, intro, first chorus, first verse, first chorus, and then I'm off to get some dinner, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, so away we go. Right. Hang on. Yeah. All right. Here. Right. Wait a minute. What's going on here? All right. Fit project. There we go. I need a break. No. All right. Just a little bit before. All right. Here we go. And you'll notice that another little decision that I made was to this box cutter B track. If you look at the volume drawing, I decided not to bring that all the way down to infinite zero between during the chorus and the chorus bridge and the final chorus. It goes up to 0.0. Here, during the second verse and the third verse, I drag it down only to -9. So it's kind of like part of, you want a song to build, right? And so I might even, like, -9 during the second verse and maybe -7, -6 during the third verse. Have it be even just a little bit more prominent during the third verse. But, yeah, I think that problem has been cleared up. I've got those two tracks under control now. They're working together, and they're not causing problems anymore. So that's how it sits right now. And I'm starting to see the end in sight. And then I think we're going to move on to the next Building a Song project, and I still think we're going to go with Won't Back Down by Tom Petty, because why the hell not? It's a great song, and it presents some interesting challenges. You know, it's in some ways it's a very simple, straightforward rocker, but it's not so simple, and it's quite challenging to do a cover of something, and it's iconic. You know, it's like one of the iconic Tom Petty track, and Tom Petty had a lot of iconic songs, right? I mean, it's Tom Petty. Holy shit. You know, it's a real challenge to do it in a way that it's like you're not going to one up Tom Petty, but you can do something different with it. You can do something interesting with it. You can make it your own, in a way that if you care about people hearing it and how they might react, you might play it for your friends, and they're not going to shit all over it. You'd be like, wow, that's different, but cool, different but cool, right? So, I'm also thinking about doing a Rush song, After Image, from their album Grace Under Pressure, which is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song. Really well written, wonderful chords. But yeah, I think maybe building a song 3 I'm going to have to think about that one for a while. So I think Tom Petty, Won't Back Down It Is. It's also a good song. That's good to have in your alcohol recovery soundtrack. You need that vibe. You need Tom Petty right at your side sometimes. You need that spirit. I won't back down. Gonna stand my ground. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so we're getting to the end of Gorilla. I only chose to do my song because I didn't know enough about YouTube yet. I thought I couldn't do a Tom Petty song, something that everybody knows because of copyright. But now, as I learn more about YouTube and copyright and all that, it seems like that's something I can do. So, if you've been following along, thanks for bearing with me, and I hope this has been informative and even helpful to you if you're trying to get into this thing, especially as something to occupy your mind. Fill the void that's left when you quit booze or any other kind of substance. Leaves a void. You got to get your dopamine, you got to get your serotonin. And if you get into this, it provides dopamine, it provides serotonin, and it also helps you to repair the brain damage. It really does. Helps you rewire the circuits that are fried from all that shit. So, okay, I've gone on long enough. So I may do another video tonight, later, depending on how things go. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow with the acoustic image Claris and the Behringer speaker cabinet live. Want to do it? I'd like to track that live, if possible. So we'll see. Okay. Godspeed. God love you, especially if you're cutting booze. Recovery and all that. All right? Hang in there. Don't back down. Stand your ground. Over and out.